I was trying to navigate my way through the crowds to no vaccine passports. Navigate my way through the crowd to try and meet some people, but there's literally so many people here. Hey, it's insane. I mean, I made a prediction that this could be the largest rally that we've seen yet, and quite frankly, I mean, just look behind me. This is Parliament Square behind me. It's wall-to-wall people. There's people all around the streets. I mean, I can't even get in here to show you the scale of how many people are here. You can hear the cheering now. I'm going to take you into the park now if I can, just to show the sheer magnitude of this. And the timing of this event couldn't be better. Obviously, we've seen the announcements of Plan B this week. Just the complete lack of scientific integrity in what's happening right now. I made a comment today that we've got two forms of science now. We've got the science, which is ideological and separated, divorced from the scientific method, and we have science, which is objective and based around hypotheses and testing hypotheses, emerging data, evidence. We've just completely lost sight of that. We've got this new paradigm in science, which is driving everything that we're witnessing now, and we have to ask why. And a lot of those answers you'll find within the industrial pharmaceutical complex, the global public-private partnerships. How you doing? Good to see you. And the financial complex of interests and the governing interests that come with this are playing a much more critical role than the facts and the evidence. So much so that we can't even question. We can't even question what's happening. We can't ask questions. We can't challenge. In fact, just recently there was several articles that were published showing that the vaccines, for instance, don't reduce transmission, and then Twitter come out with the guidelines saying you can't post anything about vaccines not reducing transmission, despite the fact that science clearly states this, but not just in the science. I mean, it's observable. You have to come back to common sense and intuition, which says, does my lived experience reflect what is happening? And for most people, you know, we've got this new Omicron variant, and hello. Yo, I'm gonna come. I'll be right there. The evidence so far suggests that it's much more mild, it's much more endemic in its presentation. Yet here we are in hysteria. Hysteria is running the show again. The modelling, no amount of modelling that has been wrong, incorrect throughout this pandemic. There's no accountability for this fear-mongering, the behavioural science, the SPI-M modelling flaws, and you know, the person heading up the kind of modelling, even though he's been kind of sent to the nerve tag group, Professor Ferguson. If you look at his track record, you know, if you want someone to ruin your party and bring a dampener to the mood, he's your guy. But if you want someone to be remotely accurate, he's not your guy. Yet these models are driving the response constantly. And today it's clear that when the COBRA meeting evaluate this, they'll be basing all of their decisions on these completely hypothetical models that are based upon flawed assumptions. They're not based on reality. They're not based upon the emerging evidence, and yet these are predicating the policy. So watch this space. You won't be surprised to see an announcement today. I mean, it's all transparent. We've been talking about this either between tonight and Monday. We're expecting an announcement about Christmas, potential lockdowns, which is why this event is so well timed, and it's so fantastic to see that there are so many people here. I'm going to try and give you an aerial shot just how many people are here, just to give you a sense of the scale of this march today. And this is just the beginning. This is before we started. You know, the streets are lined with people. You know, the timing of this event, the messaging of this event couldn't be more clear. You know, we're saying no to medical tyranny. We're saying no to this irrational, absurd response to a respiratory virus that for the majority of people is mild at worst. Yet we're living like it's a threat to everyone. We're living like it's a threat to everyone's well-being, and that We are all sick until proven healthy. This has to stop. We cannot allow this to continue. We're about to go into 2022. Do you really want to go into a new year with new restrictions?
Great to see you, Dan. Great videos.
Thank you. With new restrictions, new mandates, more fear, when all of the evidence is driving the opposite. Now the problem is when you focus on, and I mentioned this over and over again on the podcast, I'm tired of saying it, if you focus on one tree, you cannot save the whole forest. You know, if we're myopically trying to stop cases, that cases is all we hear about. These cases. Yet no one is asking how sick are people. No one is asking how severe is this. No one is asking, is this really a risk in terms of hospitalization? It's all about cost of everything else. All of a sudden you would see your marketing plummet, but guess what would happen? Your sales would plummet as well. But also, as a result, you'd not be able to pay your bills. You wouldn't be able to pay your staff. You'd start making redundancies. Your business would fall apart if you just drive one metric to the floor. Yet this is what we're doing here in society. We're ignoring everything else around us. So when I talk about the forest and the tree is the cases of COVID-19. We focus myopically and obsessively on that above all else. But what's happening is the forest is getting bulldozed. You know, the healthcare outcomes are atrocious. You know, right now, you know, this drive to vaccinate everyone with the boosters before Christmas is basically shutting down GP surgeries. I spoke to someone working in the A&E department in my city, and they said, you know, they're just taking all these appointments that should only be seen by GPs. You know, it's then blocking up the A&E for people who really need accident and emergency treatment. Has a huge knock-on effect. We're already seeing record numbers of cancer diagnosis getting missed. You know, COVID has become the big C. Cancer's been relegated to the little c, which has a much higher
Go on down!
thank you. Higher mortality rate. So the healthcare system is getting decimated. People's, there's nearly 6 million people on a hospital waiting list. 6 million people of a whole range of illnesses. Elective surgery. It's incredible to see, but it's devastating. The economy is falling apart. You know, it's been kept under the lid because, you know, the press obsess about COVID in the same way. But the economy is devastated. People have lost their livelihoods. The level of businesses that are closing down is unprecedented. Mental health is through the roof. Education has been absolutely decimated. And again, the children are going to pay the price over Christmas and into the new year. We're messing with their futures. We're messing with their mental health. We're messing with their social ability. We're messing with their future earning potential. So the forest is getting bulldozed, if you see what I'm saying in this metaphor. We're focusing so obsessively, I say we, the collective we. The politicians are trying to win the political vote. They stoke up the fear and then show that they are try and position themselves as the solution. This is why pandemics and politics do not mix. The whole situation has been politicized. The whole situation has been moralized. The whole situation has become an ideological battle, which goes back to my point around the science versus science. The science is ideology. Science is objectivity. Yeah. Science, the objective method of science requires our ability to ask questions, to challenge assumptions, to challenge the models, but this is just not possible. So the timing of this event is crucial. We've seen now the NHS, we've just talked about how the NHS is getting decimated. Well, this week, if you missed it, the mandatory vaccinations have been approved by the MPs, by a majority in the House of Commons this week, which means up to 100,000 NHS workers, and if you go to nhs100.com and see the campaign there, you'll see how many, there's people who have been working for decades in the NHS with really high quality, you know, highly qualified, really lots of, ignore the 1% and leave them as collateral damage, absolutely not, but I'll talk more about that in a minute. But the reality is we have to find more appropriate ways to provide sound public health information so that people can make informed decisions for their own health based upon the realities of the situation rather than the hysteria of the situation. We have to start seeing things as they are, not worse than they are, in order to then see things better than they are and start to make the world a better place. So this comes back to the politicization of science, because there's a simple solution to this, and this is what we've done throughout history, which is a focused protection strategy. It's helping those who are clinically vulnerable to shield, to find ways to stay protected. There's always going to be exceptions with that type of strategy. There are going to be leaks, and there'll be cracks in the system, and that, you know, some people will suffer. But at the moment, we're forcing everyone to suffer. We're taking the pain to all of society when we could take a really focused approach. But you saw last year, herd immunity was politicized. Herd immunity was reduced to vaccine-only outcome, which is you know, I talk about Common Sense Corner on the podcast. Common Sense Corner, we can't in just 2 years start to say that herd immunity doesn't exist naturally. How is that possible? You're saying to me if you get infected naturally, that's it. You know, it doesn't count. Come on. You know, this is what's happening. So when the Great Barrington Declaration came out last year, which advocated for a selected measure of preserving the needs and the safety of the clinically vulnerable, it was shot to pieces. Almost to say that, oh, if we just let the virus rip, but that's still happening. You'll still see the same language being used. But the reality is that the healthiest members of society, if they become sick with the virus and have a mild experience, they generate an exceptional immune response which actually starts to build a barrier which does protect other people. Getting infected is a way to protect others. Now, I might get censored for saying that on a live broadcast in 2021. Don't you think that's crazy? Don't you think that's crazy? And again, going to the skeptics amongst you, even if you think we're all crazy conspiracy theorists here, ask yourself, you know, don't you think it's mad that we can't ask questions about herd immunity, the role that it plays? And I just saw one of the posters for the vitamin C campaign, because the reality is a lot of the different studies have shown us that deficiencies in certain vitamins and minerals have led to severe outcomes. Vitamin D is one of the primary ones. Vitamin C is another. Yet we're seeing censorship for people talking about the merits of vitamin C. Come on. Common Sense Corner. Ask yourself questions. What's going on? So the timing of this event is critical. The march is about to move on. I found some people I'm going to come and say hello to now, and I'll be back very shortly. I'm going to be covering the bulk of the march here. We'll be here for the entire journey. I'll be commenting on what's going on, sharing some insights. I'll be talking to some of the members of the public that are here today. So I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter all afternoon. I'll be here with you. If you can't make it here today to be with us, then please at least share this broadcast to enable other people to participate in the march in your own unique way. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you again very shortly.